Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating post-exploitation techniques for a Active Directory machine. If you're currently interested in taking the OSCP, then this will be massively useful to you, and this is something that you absolutely need to know. So I really hope you find this video useful. Please enjoy. And there we go. We see that those credentials are actually fully valid. So the description pin really is quite dangerous. It doesn't happen in the real world as well. So since we have local admin of this machine, says pond, we can actually dump hashes from SAM as well, directly from this tool. So we could do this from crack map.exec as well, but again, let.exec is the newer one, so we'll be using this one. It's basically described map.exec, but more new and more stable. It has some functionalities as well, right? Spidering and many more things that it has. It also supports more protocols as well. So we can see that there isn't too many logon users currently on this host, but that is fine. So we can see that this also works because of the local admin, and we're able to just dump so many hashes from multi-right, and this is obviously extremely powerful. If you wanted to move laterally to the administrator user, etc., we would be able to do that using past the hash, which I was shown you before. And most likely we would see it again as well. So you can dump some hashes and MTDS, and now we're attempting to dump the LFJ hashes. So let's see how this goes on, but it should work. There we go. So here's some cool things you can do with crack map.exec or map.exec is now called. But I want to show you some general recom when it comes to BloodHound. And again, BloodHound is not needed for the OCT. It's more so cherry on top, but it can be handy. Before, a BloodHound used to be an extremely annoying mess when it came to dependency issues. Somehow the people complained and had frustrations with it. But with this new quote-unquote neon, as you can see, the link is kept, BloodHound Community Edition, and it's been created in Docker Compose. It essentially more or less removes the dependency issues that it used to be, and you can use net.exec to ingest the information about the domain that you want to use BloodHound for, and then you can essentially just use a one-liner like group compose out after you've pulled it, and boom, it will just work. It won't have many issues with the ingestion or random register files won't be able to be parsed once you put them in BloodHound, etc. So it's this is really awesome. And again, I wouldn't say BloodHound is needed for the OSCP, but it's certain it doesn't hurt it, and I would recommend getting used to BloodHound. So now we're just running this. Everything said is that it's a goodie getting. There we go. That was good. So let's just looking for the Ibn Hisra. So there we go. The issue was just that I didn't specify the DNS server as well. And I just made sure to have the domain in the Etsy host as well. So there we have the setting that directory right there. So we're copying it over. And now we can actually see that port 88 and localhost has been opened. And that is actually where the BloodHound will be hosted. So make sure that you don't have burp suite running when you do this, because that would take this import. So you will find the credentials in the logs with Docker. Pretty much just wrong this command right here. And there we go. There will be a new randomized password set each instance. Just as the mail password, but obviously let's won't worry it, because it generates a new one each instance. So let me copy paste that just to show you guys to keep everything the same. Logging in. And we have to set a new password map. So let us do that. Confirm it. And there we go. So now we can ingest the data. So you have to pretty much just hit the upload files. I will just move my file out of a place that only root can access, because I can create some access issues when I'm trying to grab it from this web interface, which is not running as root. So I put it to temp. And there's a zip file. You can actually just upload a zip file like this directly, and it will work. You don't have to extract it. So now it's ingesting. So just give that a little bit of time. And it's just ingesting all of the data and processing it. And in a little bit, it will be done. And then we can start having fun, and I can show you some basics, but useful things you can do with BloodHound. So there we go. Now you see status complete. So now it's pretty much good to go. So let us head over to Explorer. And we can actually search for all the data. So there we go. The SQL service, for instance, like it's just there. We can look it up. We can click on it. We can see all of the attributes. You can see a ton of information. Like for instance there, we can see the same description tag, plus a lot more information. What else can we see? We can see the member of. And there's the cipher area. It actually has some pre-built queries right there. You have to click on this little folder. And then you can use a lot of these very handy things. Pre-built cipher queries. it can essentially show you all of the co-roastable users right there, boom. Just clicked on that and it just tells us that this user is co-roastable because of all of the ingested data that we essentially queried using netexec over LDAP. So we can actually just try that and see if the tool is telling the truth or if it's not. So the target, we need the right domain. Let me grab that there. So pretty much any user we have credentials to, we can attempt this thread. Obviously, we have admin user in this scenario, but let's test it. In a realistic scenario, we would have way lower privilege user. And there we go. We can in fact see that the SQL service is co-roastable exactly like BloodHound said. And now we can actually see if any machine has the desuccinct privileges, and indeed they do. Like I showed you in the previous video, where we use desuccinct to be essentially able to dump all of the hashes, and using pass the hash to log in as the administrator. We can actually do this here as well. So let's see. So these different groups have the desuccinct rights, and so let's see who is a member of this. And we can actually see that the SQL service again is a member of this, and that means that they will have the desuccinct rights. At least it certainly seems that way. So let's test the theory. So let me go to my handy note. Not like that, like this, I think, yeah. And again, we can do this remotely using impact secret stump. Just need to find the credentials. This pound symbol is a bit nasty, but SQL service. Add the pound symbol. Try putting quotes here and the correct domain. I'm not sure this will work because of the environment variable target and also the pound symbol with the bash, but let's try it. Okay, so let's try changing it a little bit. Yeah, the environment variable is set, as we can see still. So maybe we just take quotes around the actual password itself, and let's try like this. And there we go. Again, we see that the the SQL user has SQL service has desuccinct rights, and we're able to dump all of these hashes because of that. And we were more easily able to identify this because we ingested the data using BloodHound. So, and again, without all of the annoying dependency issues with versioning, etc. So now that we have these hashes, These are NZLM hashes that we can actually use past the hash width. So let's say we want to get administrator for lateral movement. Let's try this with PSExec, and boom, there we go. We are now an administrator. So I'm just showing you ways where you can use the recon, and you can do various techniques like hash dumping, finding credentials, and description for lateral movement. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Now, if you enjoy how I teach and you enjoy this video and you want to take the OSCP, then what are you doing not being in this course? It's over 15 hours long, and it covers everything that you need. If you're only watching the videos on YouTube, you're missing out a lot, because it's over 15 hours of content. You will get access to the VIP section on Discord, where you can ask me any questions and you can study alongside all the other students in our course. Right now, you will also get access to this checklist right here, which will cover at least 95% plus of all the attacks and all the techniques that you need to know for every single section. Not only initial access, but AD, pivoting, Linux, and Windows privilege escalation. And the goal for you is to reach proficient or at least basic competence on all of them. That's one of the things. We also have this entire roadmap right here, where there's a bunch of action steps and a bunch of cheat sheets inside all of these hyperlinks that I can't show you in this video. But once you have completed all of them, you know for a fact that you will be ready to get into the OSCP exams and absolutely crush it. If that sounds interesting to you, to get all of this in 15 hour plus of video footage from someone who has OSCP, who explains different attacks and techniques and methodologies, it's going to be invaluable to you. Now, some people are confused with the offer. If you're interested in the notes, these are the notes that you will constantly see me use in the videos, right? They're pretty much recommended to go hand in hand with the course, and I use them constantly in the course itself, right? So I think you'll find it extremely useful. That's also why we have the third offer, which is the bundle, where you can buy both of these together for a discount. I hope that clarifies things. Best of luck on your OSCP journey. I really hope this will be massively useful to you. I'll see you in the next video.